Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here. I'm Liz Trotter, and our guest today is Meaghan Likes. This is Smart Business Moves.
Woohoo! Hey, Megan.
Hello. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
I'm kidding. I think we are doing a really good job here, y'all, of being very festive. We're all looking very festive. Megan, it looks like you even have on a festive looking shirt. Was that by design?
I mean, it's Christmas week. We gotta be. I don't have my earrings though. You win, Liz. I usually have Jingle Bell earrings or I have a snowman earrings, but not today. But you guys had a hat, so I had to go get my hat. I love
I like your hat because it's wired. I like a wired hat. Mm-hmm.
I don't have earrings, but we're just gonna.
Your hat might win. Your hat might win though.
Yeah.
Did Denise send you that?
Denite's here, and Denite, sent me this hat. She felt that I wasn't properly attired this time last year, so she hooked me up.
Wow, Denise, you are a good friend. A good friend.
And this is the more modest one. She sent me a couple of others too.
I love the tree one, but it doesn't show because it's all green. So it doesn't show because of the green screen.
I might go without green screen on Wednesday just to give that a big go.
I'm visiting my mom, and she's literally bringing me my Jingle Bell earrings that I stole from her.
Oh, awesome!
Mom,
what a mom!
Jingle Bell earrings
too.
Oh, and a bracelet I got her last year. Sorry, this is a fashion show. And a necklace I got her. I mean, we like Christmas around here. So, thanks, Mom.
Get your mom on camera. Have her join us.
No, not right now. Mom's pretty beat up. I'm here playing nurse, so she's but that was good exercise for her. So good job getting her up and about.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that she's getting some exercise if she's been having some owies. So yeah.
Yeah, she's it's been a rough month, but good quality time. Hi, Paul.
Yeah. Hey, Paul. I know we were just talking about all these hats. Paul, Denise bought that hat for Tom. I wore my hat that Denise got me last week, but she actually has bought us. She bought us for every holiday. Hats for every holiday.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
That's awesome. All right. Well, what are we talking about today? We've got Meaghan Likes. I wonder if we can figure out what we're talking about today.
Marketing?
Oh, yeah.
Marketing. My favorite.
Well,
I have been on a recruiting kick. I have been on a recruiting kick. It's been like my passion this year. It's been very fun. Been moonlighting as a recruiter.
Wow, that's interesting. Why have you been doing that, Meaghan?
Well, we're all hiring, right? Hey, I'm very proud. I'm very competitive. We have a bench right now.
Nice.
We have a bench. Nice. Like that's such a good spot to be. I have names of people who have passed all my screening that would love to work for my company. And thanks to QDS, I have my red people. I know they're on their way out, and I've got the replacements waiting to get started. I don't know. But we're not here to talk about recruiting. But I've gotten Hire Who is my new best friend this year. Dom Williams.
Good. Hire Who.
My new BFF.
Asked me today too. What are some of the different platforms? So Hire Who, that's a good one. I didn't.
So if you've got a bench, does that mean you need to be working on your marketing and sales now?
I could. I'm in a weird spot, which we're going to talk about today. And maybe you guys can help me with my weird spot. So our
numbers.
Okay.
We're talking numbers.
Our goal for our business, our window cleaning business, was to hit 10 technicians and 4 crews. And we hit that last month.
Woohoo! I have been celebrating goals being hit for the last 2 weeks. I am loving it.
But this was our life goal, Liz. Our goal in business life. We promised each other we would never grow beyond that ever.
So what are you gonna do then?
Well, maybe you can help me figure it out. I don't know.
What reason do you have to get out of bed in the morning?
Right? I mean, so we spent our weekend, we were in Washington with our good friend Martha Woodward, and then she ditched us. She left early. And so my husband and I are like, well, what should we do? And so, of course, we did our strategic plan for 2022 because what else do you do? It was snowing. We'd gone for a hike. We'd had lots of hot chocolate. We bought all the gingerbread and pretzels you could buy in this town. So we did our strategic planning and we were like, well, now what? Like our BHAG was met this year.
Wow. That's amazing, Meaghan. Yeah. So you really are going to have to figure out, I don't know. What do they call the BHAG? The big hairy dash.
There's probably an F in there somewhere, but we don't need to worry about that.
The FBHAG. Well, that is amazing, Meaghan.
It's crazy. So I feel like I think our current plan is to squeeze some more cottage cheese, which is my favorite way to scale, right? So you grow to the next thing and then you keep refining it so it's as efficient as possible. And then I think from here, which you guys in cleaning, you guys know you're like 10 technicians. That's nothing, right? Like, because for you need significantly more to make the income levels that we're at. But what I'm sure you know that we're just learning is it actually gets easier from here because we have a leadership team and we have supervisors and we have leads and we have infrastructure and we have systems. And so it's really tempting to just be like, well, it's 10. That was a piece of cake. Now let's go to what's the next scale? Is that 25? Is it basically like the same learning curve to 25 then, or 50 maybe?
Yeah.
So
so it's kind of exciting. You're in like the beginning stages again, where you get to make all the decisions and get the big growth and have all the fun and yay. Yeah. And it is way easier once you have your leadership team, your management team in place. It's like everything's easier that second round, right?
Yeah, it's so much easier.
Yeah, super cool.
I hope so. We'll see. But right now, we're like pulse check. We promised ourselves we would never grow beyond. So now what?
So did you guys do your annual planning when you were actually in Leavenworth?
We did, because Saturday morning it snowed 6 inches.
Wow.
And it kept snowing all day. And so we did like a 5-mile hike in the snow, which was awesome. And then we were like, well, now what? And we played like some fun games and we were like, okay, well, want to get out the computers? And we're like, yeah, let's get out the computers. So we got out the computers and that was actually really fun for us. And we got to do it leisurely. And then yesterday we continued it. It took us 2 days. It took us probably 12 to 14 hours. And it was fun. And so I think it was kind of perfect. I was also like, well, Tom and Liz will be thrilled because it will be fresh. Like I just did it. I remember all the feelings of it.
Yes.
And I think everybody does it slightly differently. For us, we start with the why, right? And we start with like reviewing that mission statement, reviewing our core values, making sure that like those still feel right and are still like pulling through in all of our decision making. And then we revisit our BHAG, which is when we're like, oh, shoot. Well, now what? And Jeff, he was dying because it was like a 5-year goal. And he was like, really? Okay, well, there you go. So apparently we're slow. We're slow to grow, but we like it that way, I think.
Oh. You reminded me of something here, Meaghan, and I'm going to just share something real quick that actually might be useful if I can remember how to do this. We did a series of articles in Cleaning Business Today several years ago with a friend of mine. His name's Jim Lamping. He does business consulting, and he wrote a book on stages of growth of businesses. Mm-hmm. And he's got a model that says every business hits like walls, that it can't grow any further. And it's about figuring out 3 things: how to build a team, about getting the technology in place, and getting your financial models in order. And it's really pretty cool because you start off by yourself and then you hire a few people to work with you, and then you hire a supervisor. Then you have to hire managers to manage the supervisors. And you see it in industry after industry that, the team thing, you hit walls, and you do the same thing with the technology, and you do the same thing with your understanding of the financial side of the business. You start off just wanting, in the cleaning business, just wanting to clean something, right? Sell something. And it gets to the point where you really need to understand the costs and what your variable costs are and your fixed. And then at some point you start getting more sophisticated with the whole finance side of it. Anyway, I digress. but this could be
Yeah,
useful.
drop that in the chat so that I can go reference it with Jeff.
Yeah, because Jim's a good guy, and he knows his stuff on that. Anyway.
Well, we all know about these stages of growth, right? And I think we can talk about them from like a financial perspective. You can talk about it from a team size. You can talk about it from how mature a business is. Although I feel like I keep going to these events with like 2-year-old businesses that are doing over $1 million. Like I feel like we're hacking the system. We're growing faster now. Something that takes us 10 years can take somebody else a year. But yeah, that's a great reminder. And I think it's a good time of year to check in. I do the same thing with my accounting practice every year. I kind of like pulse check, am I working towards the same goal? Do I like the goal? Do I want to change the goal? I'm constantly changing the goal. So it's a good time of year. I like it. And I like doing it before the new year. I like being really thoughtful about it before the new year.
Me too. I think once you get into January, you start feeling this pressure. And so you just start doing instead of thinking. So I also love the planning piece. So Meaghan, talk to us about what else you did. I mean, you said 12 to 14 hours, right?
Yeah.
So,
were you in prison like Leavenworth? That's like a prison in Kansas, right?
Right. It might be. So Leavenworth, Washington is like this magical place that Martha Woodward said she was going to. And I was like, great, can I come? And she was like, well, I was going with my kids. And I was like, but can I come? I've crashed before. And so I totally crashed her family Christmas, the entire Christmas, because that's how I roll. Don't tell me when you're going to a cool place because I will absolutely tag along. And it was awesome. It's like a Bavarian village that a lot of Hallmark videos are filmed from. So this Hallmark Christmas movies are filmed in this cute little idyllic town tucked away about 2.5 hours northeast-ish of Seattle, or directly east. I'm bad with direction. And I lived in Bavaria for almost a year as a nanny. I was an au pair Mädchen once upon a time in a former life. And so I felt like it took me back to my roots, although I kept getting annoyed because like my favorite things to eat weren't necessarily on the menu. But I did eat a lot of pretzels, and I did drink some Glühwein, which is like that mulled wine.
They have really good dogs there too. Really good dogs. The hot dogs.
Oh,
It's like sore subject. We tried to go dog sledding and all the dogs had died. It was terrible. It was terribly tragic. But we did go for a sleigh ride.
Was it a disease or like just a bad sleigh accident? What happened?
A car accident. Yeah. Terrible. Yeah, good reminder of succession planning, because if you look up dog sledding in Leavenworth on the website, it tells you about this tragic horror that happened, and the whole business died with the dogs and the owner. So sad. Yeah.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
It's been a rough couple of weeks for car accidents. That's for darn sure.
Mm-hmm. Not good. Well, the road conditions were kind of intense. Martha was smarter than me, as usual. She took the train, which is how I would recommend doing the Leavenworth thing. Take the train from Seattle. So
you definitely want to book that in advance, though, if you're interested, because they book up as much as some of the hotels will book up a year in advance. So.
Yep. But it was neat. And everything was walkable once we got there, and ate great. And like the kids sled in the streets. It's hilarious and adorable. It's like just the most idyllic Christmas town. So yeah. But we had a very cute hotel with a very cute lobby, and there were lots of cute little pubs and coffee shops that you could hang out in. And so Jeff and I just kept moving our laptops around. And I think with strategic planning, it's not all laptop work, right? Like some of it is reflecting back on the year you just had. And we did it 2 years in arrears. So we looked at 2020 and we looked at 2021. And we talked about like our hiring, and we talked about how many people were laid off and how many people quit and how many people were fired and why were they fired. And we went through all those lists of names. We talked about how many people were promoted and like how did that career ladder actually play out in our company. We talked about our marketing spend. In 2021, we went through a huge rebranding, which has felt kind of painful looking at the financials, but feels really hopeful looking into 2022. We talked about financials, a lot about financials, average tickets. We talked about recurring customers. We talked about gross receipts. It just was like a bunch of data for parts, and then other parts were just about feelings, right? So like, how did that feel? We did a time audit of Jeff's time in the company, which is very fun. I like to joke that my husband works 5 hours a week, and we actually did the data on his average for last year, and his average was 9.1, and he was very thrilled to tell me that he works more than 5 hours a week. He actually works 9 hours a week. Excuse me.
He works almost twice as much as you give him credit for.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
And he's working twice as hard as you think he is too, Meaghan.
And then I'm the worst because we did the time audit and I was like, well, you could delegate that. You could delegate that. Look, honey, you only need to work 48 hours a year. And he was like, this is not fun. Like, I like working. Stop taking things away from me. But that was, the time audit was fun. We also, from a money perspective, we looked at the personal budget and we looked at like, what are we taking out of the business? What are we saving? We kind of changed up our retirement strategy last year. So that was kind of fun to look at our retirement strategy. We also look at our travel plans. So like, I actually keep saying I'm going to count how much we were gone this year. I think we were gone way more than we planned to be. And then we looked at next year, how much do we plan to be gone and where do we want to go? What do we want to do? That was kind of fun. And then from the business, in terms of the planning part, I think it's very numbers heavy. So, and we haven't done all of it. We're not actually done because it starts with a budget. And I think a budget takes a while. So for us, a budget is like a living document that we use for planning. And so we can actually plan and project what we expect our income to be, and we can project out all of our expenses. So that's where we're at in our strategic planning phase. I'd imagine we probably have another 10 hours to go before we have goals for 2022, but we've got a starting outline, I'd say.
So it sounds like, Meaghan, so we haven't heard this from anybody yet. So wait, one thing that we have heard came out of your mouth, it's come out of every single person's mouth that we've talked about is having the data, looking at the data, reflecting back, and then figuring out where we want to go. So past, present, future, everybody's been doing that. And everybody talks about you gotta look at the data. It doesn't make sense to just throw a number out there. You got to be looking at where you've been. If you don't have data, you got to get it. That needs to be top of your list this year, is figure out how you're going to be collecting that data. So that's one thing that you talked about that everybody has said. So y'all have heard it from every single person now. So get on that. The second thing that you said that nobody really that I've heard talking about is you spent a lot of time talking about feelings. We haven't heard that at all yet, right, Tom? Have we heard that at all?
No, we heard a little bit about, and Meaghan touched upon this too, that you kind of just start off reflecting and thinking about what worked and what didn't work. We've, heard that before, but not necessarily from a feeling standpoint, more of an emotional standpoint. I'd like to hear about that because I don't know if I know how to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I say I'm the accountant that talks more about feelings than I do about numbers, but I have to find this thing that I did. Okay, so we were like tasked to write our 2021 story, and when I wrote it out, my husband started crying.
Wow.
Yeah, my husband, who's like tatted up to the, if you met Jeff, he's got tattoos everywhere. He's a punk rocker, 2 and 2. I swear, like if I left that man alone for a month and a half, he would grow a mohawk and it would be bright green. That's the kind of guy he is. But he started crying out of pride because we took some time to like really reflect on where we went this year. And I think that for a lot of us, it's been hard. Like 2020 was hard and 2021 was hard in different ways, right? Like 2021 was hard in a growth way because there's plenty of work. There was plenty of demand. We had to grow fast as leaders, something that we hadn't had to do so much in our business or in our industry. And it was really fun to reflect back on, like, if you think about all the things you've done in your business this year, if you think about all of the hard decisions you've made and all the sacrifices you've made and all of the things that you've accomplished, and you just brain dump it. And we did it together. Like I kind of made my notes, he made his notes, and we shared our notes, and that made more notes. Right. And then I tend to be a good writer, which is weird as an accountant, but I wrote it out and then I said it out loud and we both were like, holy cow, what a year, right? Like
it was the 9 hours a week that probably put it over the edge, right?
No, that was a separate analysis.
Okay.
We did like a traditional SWOT analysis of our company. We did a leadership analysis, like our strengths as leaders, our weaknesses as leaders. We did a lot of like, I don't know, thought exercises around this.
Yeah.
But I'd say that the feelings part is also kind of checking in because we've hit our BHAG, right? And we want to stay true to ourselves. Like it's been stressful to get to your BHAG. Like I am not going to sit here and say that this was easy or like we followed this path or that it was very linear or that like, you know, I can tell you we've experienced, 30% growth every year, but all the pain points that come with that growth rate, right? And so to hit that BHAG was just kind of like, well, now what? Like, do we sell? Do we retire? Do we stop? Do we go backwards? Do we go forwards? Like what, and I think the only way you can answer those questions is by checking in with yourself. Like, what are we liking? What aren't we liking? What are we willing to do more of? What are we willing to do less of? What can we afford to do more of in terms of like, we're in a weird position because we travel as much as we want. We spend as much as we want. Like, the business has served our current needs. And so now it's time for us to read Jim's article and to like figure out what the next needs are, right? To figure out why do you get up in the morning, Tom? Like what keeps you going? And so for us, a big part of that has been watching our team step up. Like we didn't have a leadership team until 2021. And that was a huge sense of pride for us because now we're not doing this alone. We are not pushing this snowball up the mountain. Like our team is doing it and they're better at it than we are. And that feels good, right? Like that feels really good. And so, yeah, there's been a lot of introspection, I think, because we feel like we're on the cusp of the next thing and we don't know what the next thing's going to be. So it's good because we like to say we don't like to plan too far in the future. So we pinned it for 2022. Right now, it's just going to be optimizing and making this even more efficient with what we have. And then we've opened the discussion to what comes next.
But that's kind of a placeholder while you really figure it out, right?
Yeah. But I mean, you need to have placeholders sometimes, I think.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have in our marriage, because we do something similar. So this is getting way more personal and way more about me. So I hope the listeners, this is helpful to you because I'm being super vulnerable. But I'm 35 and we don't have children. And so every year we talk about having children, like is next year the year that we have kids? And, if you have kids, you probably realize it's a huge commitment, right? Like you need to plan in advance for it. It's like a whole thing. And so we would kill each other. We've been happily married for 11 years. We would kill each other if we talked about it every single day because spoiler, we don't agree about having kids or not having kids, but we love each other a lot. So we do it once a year. That's what we're very good about pin holders. So we'll like come to terms, we'll both agree, and then we'll put a pin in it and we'll revisit in a year. And that seems to work for us. And so we do the same in business. Like if we can't come to a good conclusion, like why keep going round and round? Why waste hours and hours? Why go through the angst? Why not just get to a good place that you both agree on or that the business agrees on and that you can get up for each day, right? That you're excited about, put a pin in it and revisit it at a different time. So that's what we did for 2022 is we're going to just keep making it more efficient and we'll revisit next December and we'll see where we're at. And I have a feeling a lot of opportunities will come between now and then. And there's some fun in leaving it open for organic growth, right? Mm-hmm. Like what if this bench gets so good that we have to do what Tom says, which is like, well, we do have a wait list. Like, why not just throw another truck in there, right? Well, we do have 2 guys on the bench. Why not just throw 2 more guys out there? Like maybe it will just happen on accident, but that's terrible. This is supposed to be about planning. I should not be telling you guys about letting it happen on accident.
But actually, I think that you're pointing out something really, really good, Meaghan, is that when you get to a certain position, you have some flexibility. You have the ability to be able to do that and be able to be more flexible. In the beginning years, early on, not so much, right? And Denise is pointing out that it's nice that you're such a good partner on your journey. Absolutely true.
Thanks, Denise. I feel very lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. For those of us that have a partner, we are I don't know. I think every single one of us is like, couldn't do it without. So those doing it without is like, more
So
power to you there.
you mentioned that you suspect a lot of really cool opportunities will be coming your way in 2022. And if you know, I love talking about being opportunistic and in a positive way, because some of the best things that have happened to me from a business standpoint wasn't something that I came up with in December and saying this is what's going to happen next year. It was like just doing my thing day to day, and then something kind of falls in your lap that you weren't even expecting. But you got to keep your eyes open and say, wow, I've worked really hard. You know, what is it? Success is where preparation and
Opportunity.
opportunity collide. And if you do your homework and work really hard, you know, things will come your way. So I like that, but you can't necessarily say, okay, in March, this is the really cool thing that's going to happen. You just
Yeah.
kind of need to be there.
Well, you need to be there, but you also need to create space for it. So I'll share like a personal story of what happened to Likes Accounting this month is between October 15th, which is like supposed to be the last individual tax deadline of the year. Ha ha. That has not been the case, but typically that's how it's supposed to work. Between October 15th and January 1st, I like to consider myself a free agent, which means that I have met my tax obligations for my tax clients for the year. And we both get to choose if we're going to renew our relationship and our agreement for the next year. So it's kind of this time where I leave space for myself to like, you know, assess how's it going? How's my staffing? What's my capacity like? Because I hate to bite off more than I can chew, and I hate to work more than I have to. So it's just a weird time. My mom, who I'm at my mom's house, she was diagnosed with cancer in November, and unfortunately had a heart attack about 10 days ago. So I'm telling all the personal things, but wow. It made me really, I was like planning cancer treatments for tax season. And I was like, this is crazy. Why you hate taxes? Why are you going through all this effort to make space for this thing in your business that you don't like, that you have not delegated successfully, that's just like, it's just a pain. It's an absolute pain. And so last week I sent out letters of apology to 97% of my tax clients, saying that I would not be doing another tax season with them and that I was going to prioritize my mom's health. And I will tell you that I got the most sweet responses back. Everybody was completely understanding. I thought that they were going to like tar and feather me and come with their pitchforks because I was their tax person and like they couldn't live without me. And it turns out I am absolutely replaceable and they will be fine.
I'm sure that was it, Meaghan.
But it's true. Everybody is fine. And what happened the next day was I got an opportunity for a grant for a very cool project for 2022 that more than doubled the income of those tax clients, which I have not agreed to because I'm trying to prioritize mom and figure out my life. But I also sent out proposals for more than that tax work for bookkeeping work. Likes Accounting does do outsourced bookkeeping. And I had been not getting back to a bunch of clients who wanted to be clients because I was juggling all this tax stuff and juggling this big decision. Yeah. And I think when you create space, like when you make the decision to either not make a decision or to not do something anymore or to do something, when you actually like, all right, I've said it to the universe, it's happening. I sent the email. It's amazing the opportunity that can come back. And so I read a really good book this year called Essentialism. And Essentialism, I read 3 times because it was so good. And it talks about that, like how we can create space in our lives and in our businesses to allow room for opportunities, and realizing that every yes we say is a no to something else, or sometimes multiple no's, and we don't even know what we're saying no to. So hopefully that's a testament to somebody sitting out there who's like, I don't like this part of my business. It's not working great. And I will tell you, it was a very profitable, good income because I was doing all the work. So it was kind of hard to let go of. But then look at that. The next day, there's always going to be work. Like I'm never not going to have something to do. And I think that that's true for almost anybody listening to this right now.
If you want to be working, there will be work.
The work will come. The work will come. And I think, life's too short to do things you don't like. And so I drank my own medicine and I did the hard thing and it worked out. Oh gosh, here we go. Yeah, Essentialism. Yeah. Mine looks a little different. I think this is like the Cliff Notes, maybe.
Like lines all over it and stuff. Yours had a bunch of like lines too, Meaghan?
Yeah, try it again, but if you just hit Essentialism, yeah, it's white with black line. That first one. There you go.
Yeah.
The top one.
This one?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
The disciplined pursuit of less. And I guess bonus points is pumpkin plan. So like pumpkin planning your business. But I felt like I'd done that over and over again with Likes accounting. And yeah. So, but this was really helpful. Creating space.
All right, we're watching.
Tom's buying it right now. I love
It's
it.
done.
It's done.
On its
done.
way.
On its way.
Yeah. And he has no more credit. So.
Oh,
Wow.
actually, there's two more actually. I
was probably looking at your cart then.
Yeah.
All right. So
My
Meaghan,
cart.
I really like something that you another thing that you really talked about today. This morning, we were talking about in one of our strategic success groups, we were talking about how when we get ourselves into a place and we know that we have all the power and we have the control, we get to do the thing, but we get kind of stuck because we don't want to decide. We just don't decide to do the thing. Instead, we just remain in stuckdom, right? We're just like stuck. I'm stuck. I can't decide. I don't know what to do. I'm deciding. Yeah, it's a new word, Tom. Stuckdom. I know. I saw the face.
So,
like
well,
it.
it was like gum. Like I'm trying to imagine like bubble gum or something. Like you can't.
Well, people feel like that there's too many. There's a lot of different ways that people get stuck. But they get stuck in there's too many options. I can't choose. There's just too many options. People get stuck because they want the right option. They want to do the right thing and they don't know what that is or how to get to that answer. People get stuck because they know what they need to do, but they just simply don't want to. They don't want to. It sounds hard. It sounds icky. I just don't want to. So people get stuck. And that decision is so important, just making the decision. I really liked what you said about, you weren't even really sure, but you had this thing, your mom, and so you just decided you were going to do it and you just did it. And then bam, another opportunity pops up just like that. And now here you are again. You haven't even taken it because you haven't taken it. Yeah.
I didn't take it because first of all, because I don't have to. And second of all, because I want to make sure it's the right one. And I think that there's like a lot of things that we need to go through. Like once you create the space, it's also your job to defend this space, right? And I have a good accountability buddy, Martha Woodward. I feel like she's come up a million times during this call, but Martha was the first one that introduced me to Pumpkin Plan the last time I got stuck in my business. And that was after my less than first year. I'd been in business like 10 months and she locked me in a car and made me listen to it. And it worked really well.
Did she crack the window so you could get air? I mean, that sounds.
Barely.
Throw you a little water, a couple of trees.
I'm going to go get this because it's so inspiring. And I just told another group this. I will be back in 2 seconds. I'm sorry, but you guys will fill the time. It's really worth it. The pumpkin plan thing. I'll be right back.
Okay. Pull up the pumpkin plants. Mike McAllowitz.
I'm on it.
So, yeah, I love the pumpkin plan. It's super. So one of the things I love about Mike McAllowitz is he just takes ideas that you've heard a lot of times. You've heard of them forever. And he makes them work. He makes them easy and he makes them like, oh, I know that. I can do that. It's the same idea here. Look at that. 5 stars.
Yeah.
Go Mike. You're not seeing 5 stars with 1,000 feet.
And Mike's a Hokie.
He's a what?
He's a Hokie.
I don't
he
know.
went to school at Virginia Tech.
Oh,
I was like, I don't know what that is.
I don't
What is
either.
Oh, come on, people. Really? I'll have to wear my Virginia Tech hat after Christmas.
Yeah. I still won't know what that means, but okay.
He talks about it in his books. His frat days. He goes back there every once in a while.
Okay. So if they're a cleaning business owner, let's give them a crash course to pumpkin planning or any other strategy to that.
Okay. So
do you want to do it? Or
do it,
I'm sure. Okay, so the idea is you can work for less people and make more money. And we talked about this a lot when we were recruiting, right? The idea that like you can't even satisfy the clients that want to pay you money right now. So you need to be really thoughtful about which jobs you're actually going out to. You need to think about which ones are the profitable ones, which ones make you happy, which ones make your staff happy, like what makes your heart sing. So really thinking about the big pumpkins that you want to nurture if you were a pumpkin grower. That's the idea. And then sometimes in order to nurture a big pumpkin, you got to kill the little pumpkins. And that sounds terrible and fatalistic, but I said it. So Martha Woodward, I was like in that stuck dumb place Liz was just describing. And after 10 months in being business, I might have even been 9 months. And I had created like a giant monster, right? I had grown to a team of 11 in less than 10 months. I had like blown up my accounting practice. I had bought a business. I had done all the things that we should not do. And she locked me in a car. She did crack a window. We extended our trip, and then we chose like an airport far enough away for me to be able to listen to this book. That's how crazy we are. And so we listened to the whole book in one sitting. And what I like about the book is lots of data, lots of analysis. They give you the tools to be able to rank how you would pumpkin plan your business. How would you even decide who are the good clients, who are the bad clients? Like what metrics would you use to evaluate them? I love it. So I am in year 4 of Likes Accounting, and I actually did a retrospective look of what's happening to my business. And I want to share it because I think it's inspiring. If you are sitting there, if you are still recruiting, or if you still have a wait list of people that want to give you money, this is a really good strategy for you to do. And what I find with my clients is everybody's afraid to turn down money. Like everybody's afraid to turn away clients. Everybody's afraid to let clients down. And I would be absolutely fake if I told you I'm not that way. I would absolutely be lying to you if I told you that I didn't have like heart palpitations or I delayed for 2 weeks before sending, because I should have sent the email when mom was diagnosed and I was like facing chemo and radiation. Like I should have just made the call then, but I didn't. It took me a while. It took her having a heart attack to me be like, okay, go. I'm not doing this. Like press go. So year 1, after Martha locked me in the car, I cut 70% of my clients and my top line grew by 74%.
Nice.
But the interesting thing is my bottom line grew by 1,900%.
Wow.
1,900%, because I was able to be really thoughtful about what am I good at? What is my team good at? Where should I be spending my time and energy? How do I scale this? Right. Year 2. So I didn't do it aggressively enough.
So Meaghan, not just to get perspective, you had a team of
lines with that 1,900. You got to hold on a sec.
Yeah, you had a team of.
I was not profitable, right? I had negative profit margins, and then
you had a big team. Did you kind of reduce your team as part of that?
I did not in year 1.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but I figured out this is not a cleaning business. And I will tell you, I've not done this for window cleaning, but I have helped cleaning business owners do this because you have recurring, it's actually easier for you. Like we could do a spreadsheet of all your clients. We could do a spreadsheet of what your man hours is. We could figure out, like if you wanted to throw data at your client list, it's actually easier for cleaning business owners than it is for a window cleaning company that has 7,000 clients. Like that just feels daunting. It's possible, but it feels daunting. And stay tuned, because Jeff and our strategic planning, you know how I said we were going to optimize? Yeah. Like we absolutely are looking to do that next year. Like, can we service with our team of 10 in our BHAG goal? I think we can see 40% growth on our top line still next year.
Wow.
Which will be fun and cool. Okay. So year 2, I got more aggressive because it worked so well in year 1, and I cut 80% of my clients.
Okay.
Is that
80% of the ones that were left over at the end of year 1?
No, I started again. I took that list
another year. She had more after a year.
Okay.
Yep. And I saw 200% growth in my top line. I saw 118% growth in my bottom line.
Wow. Okay.
And what happened was I chose which services I would offer, right? And I made a smarter decision in year 2. I stopped taking tax clients because I knew taxes were not profitable for me. It was not, I'm sure there are businesses out there that are much smarter than me, but I could never figure out how to scale it. It just gets messy too fast. It requires too high of skills, and reviews are hard. There's a lot of risk. I couldn't figure it out. And I was never going to be like H&R Block. That wasn't the business I wanted. and I hated it.
You
I
said
hate, who likes taxes? Who likes taxes? Nobody does.
I thought you would. If anybody was going to like them, I thought you would, because you're always loving all the numbers. And okay,
I love accounting. I love bookkeeping. I love financial coaching. I hate taxes. So it just took a while to figure it out, and I went through the Start With Why by Simon Sinek, and then I went through the Find Your Why by Simon Sinek. I did all the soul searching. So year 3, COVID hit, and I decided I can't fire anybody. Like I fired 70%, then I fired 80%. So I just raised my prices 40%. I did the chicken route, and I only saw 5% attrition. So I raised my prices 40%. This is your me cheerleading for you. If you're afraid to raise your prices, just do it. Inflation, we could talk about that for an hour.
Yeah, especially 40% to only lose 5%. I'm like,
I lost 5%, and my top line grew 52%.
Dang.
Yep.
Dang. All right.
Yep. So and then my bottom line stayed flat though. The moral of that story is my bottom line stayed flat because I don't think I was proactive in it. So now in year 4, I have let go of 97% of my tax only business, which is now a smaller percentage because the bookkeeping has really grown. And stay tuned. We'll see what happens. But it's kind of exciting.
I need to clear up a couple of things for people that are on here. So for those of you guys that so Meaghan, clarify for people what's top line and what's bottom line.
Yeah, very good question. So top line is total sales. So that is money in the bank, total deposits from all sources of income and revenue. So if you're a cleaning business owner, that's your one-time cleans, that's your weekly, your biweekly, your monthly. Anytime somebody's paying you, those total dollars are part of your top line revenue. Bottom line revenue for me means net income. And I learned at the ISSA convention that there's a lot of discrepancies over what is net income. So I'm going to clarify what I determine net income is. For me, net income is net of what you're paying yourself as the owner for the work you're putting into your business. So that is your top line revenue minus any cost of goods sold or variable expenses. Sorry for nerding out, but that's basically how much you're paying your technicians and the gas and the credit card processing fees, all that. Then minus any of your operating expenses or your fixed expenses, right? And we get down to our net income. And then the point of clarification that I never thought of clarifying before, but so we could compare apples to apples, is I think your net income should be after you've paid yourself as the owner for the work you're putting into the business.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, if you're a sole proprietor, like that's a little gray, right? If you're sole proprietor, like that never shows up on your P&L. And so I actually help people set up their books to put it in the P&L so that they can see it after they've paid themselves a salary. Because you want to know, like, am I profitable or am I not? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the salary would be commensurate with what you would pay someone to do that job.
Exactly.
So, and if you can't make at least that, you should go get a job working for somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah. Or fix your job. Like, don't give up. This is a 4-year journey, and I still don't know if I'm happy with Likes accounting. But I feel like I'm not afraid to continue to iterate, right? Like, this is the moral of the story is if you're not happy with your business right now, that's on you. You need to fix it. Yeah. Otherwise, go get a job, right? And so, and it's scary, and it's terrifying.
But you're right. You're right, though. Don't get a job. Fix the one you have.
Well, I feel like I'd be a better boss. I feel like I have more patience for myself as a boss. I don't know. I feel like even when I hate my business, sometimes I still love my boss, like I love myself. Right. And I like having that control and power over fixing it.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
Tom's stuck. Like she loves herself. Of course she does.
I know. I just never really thought of myself as being my boss, and that's a scary thought. I got to ponder on that a little bit.
Yeah. I love that idea though, right? That's awesome because you should love your boss too.
Yeah.
If you don't love what you're doing and how you're running things, maybe you need to fix that.
You should fix it. And right now, these next 11 days are the perfect time to start really making those hard choices. Because like Liz said, I feel like once we hit January, once that calendar turns, like we just start going through the motions again. Yeah. And there's just something really like special about the magic of this time of year. Like the options are endless. The possibilities are endless. Like
absolutely.
And we have an open door policy. So I need to schedule a meeting with my boss and tell him what I think.
Hey, You know what we call those in my meeting, in my company? We call those come to Jesus meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So Tom, you're going to have a CTJ with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
with my boss.
Day when you're thinking.
And when I had bosses, which I don't know if you guys know this, but this is a very fun fact about me. I've had 75 different employers for 60 different jobs.
What?
Yeah.
I have never heard that before.
Oh my gosh, 75 different employers.
Well,
and they hated CTJs with me. They hated them. And so I've learned, like in my company, how to be a leader where we have quarterly one-on-one meetings, and I try to avoid any Meaghan CTGs because they're not fun. Not fun at all.
Okay, so wait, you gotta fill us in. What were you doing? You don't
I've done
have that many jobs.
I have done so many random things in my life, like lots and lots and lots of random things.
So you were the worst possible employee to hire, because we'd hire you and you'd be there for 3 months, you'd be gone.
I was always very transparent about it. Like, I'd be like, yeah, I'd be happy to do that for you, but I'm leaving for Greece in 8 weeks. So yeah, you know.
Mm-hmm. Did you have multiple jobs? Did you have multiple jobs at the same time?
Yeah. The most I had was 5. And I remember I was trying to pick up a 6th, and the guy wouldn't hire me because he said I couldn't handle it. And I remember being so pissed at him. And it's funny because I've lived in the same community for 17, going on 18 years. And this guy and I became like business, like acquaintances. And I remember being like, man, I hated your guts for not hiring me, but you were right. I did not need another job. And as an employer now, I wouldn't have hired me either. It's funny.
Yeah, 6 jobs is a lot, but I don't know, the 5th job hired you.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you did a good job. Huh?
Well, and the expression, you know, if you want something done right, ask a busy person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you think about it, you've got several jobs now that you're balancing.
Yeah, 5 businesses. I juggle.
Things haven't changed.
Yeah. True.
Five might be your lucky number there, Meaghan. Don't be starting another business there. 5.
Somebody did a podcast the other day, and they're like, Meaghan can only have as many as fits in one hand. And I was like, oh, I kind of like this rule. That's a good rule.
Yeah, this sounds like it is really good for you. All right, I have another question, Meaghan. When you are doing your planning, you brought up about business and how you do that, but you also talked about your personal planning. Do you always tend to do them at the same time or combine them? Do you feel like they play together? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I do, because I think we're being naive. Well, I don't know. Maybe we're not being. I don't know exactly who your target audience is, but I feel like it's often my target audience. And I feel like you probably still need the money that comes from your business in your family. I feel like that's most people. Now, maybe you are the exception and you're listening to this, but most of us, like our family finances are completely dependent on our business finances. Yeah. So I think it's irresponsible to do business planning without doing family planning, right? So we do our family budget. We determine what our salaries are from the businesses. We determine what our distributions are from the businesses. We determine what all of our expenses are for our personal life, right? Mm-hmm. And we do that kind of not first and not second. We do it kind of in conjunction with the business stuff. And so we gave ourselves pretty significant raises in 2020 because we worked our tails off. Anybody else? Like, I felt like I was going to shut it down if it's funny. I feel like money doesn't fix everything, but I really felt strongly that we had to make more because of the heck we went through. I'm trying not to curse, but we had to make more because of what we were going through in 2020. And so when we were doing our 2021, I didn't feel like we needed significant raises, but I also we just did Christmas bonuses this week and we don't give ourselves bonuses, right? We don't do any of that. And I'm like, well, I'm giving all these talks about inflation. Like, we need to keep up with inflation at least. So we did give ourselves raises like consistent with inflation. And then from a personal standpoint, I said we're having a lot of fun with retirement planning because like we're finally at a place in our lives where we can like stock away serious amounts of money. We don't need it for our personal life, right? And so that was like the next pin we put in it was, okay, so we don't really need to give ourselves raises. We don't need to take any more distributions out. Like, we're feeling really good from a personal standpoint. We feel good from a charitable giving standpoint. That's the other thing. We like to set our charitable giving in December for the next year. We choose the organizations, we choose the amount. Like, we like to be very intentional and thoughtful about that. And so I was like, but, we do have this opportunity. If we feel like we can justify it in the business, we could give ourselves a raise to fill this extra gap in retirement planning. And like I said, we're not done. So I don't know if we're going to do that or not. But I felt like that was really helpful to do them together at the same time. And I realize this is like us playing with fire, because I do not know what your personal finances are if you're listening to this, or what your business finances are. And I really want you to avoid the temptation of like dipping into the cookie jar, right? We don't want to suck our business dry or take too much out of the business. You need to keep the business viable and financially healthy. So when I say we do our personal budget, I say we live on a very tight budget as a family. Very intentionally, we really are really thoughtful about that personal budget, because I think that's important. We know that payday is coming someday with the businesses. We know every year it seems to get better. And I'd much rather get a bonus from the business because we just did a great job and we don't know what to do with all that cash, than have sucked it dry or taken too much out. So I encourage you to do the personal budget, but don't be extravagant. Like live lean, live tight. I didn't have a car for 5 years when I started Likes Accounting Company. We live a very, very lean life.
There's something to be said for delayed gratification when you're starting your business, for sure.
Even when your business is mature, like Jeff Likes Kahunas is a very mature business that we make very healthy livings off of. But I like to be thoughtful about it, and we like to budget. Like I really want to have an ops manager. I don't have an ops manager yet, so I'm willing to not take big raises so that is set aside for that ops manager when we find the right person and we're ready to pull that position. So yeah.
Well, you're bringing up a question that we get a lot, Meaghan, and that is, well, how do I decide when I can afford that? How do I know when I can afford an ops manager?
The budget will tell you.
Which is why
you put the budget, you put it in the budget, and if it all masks, then and then it's like the best thing. Like my husband, he cracks up, like he bought his first laptop last year, and it was because we put it in the budget. And I don't know, he'd never bought a laptop before. I think we budgeted like $3,000 for this laptop. and we were just like, oh, he needs a laptop, and then he went to the Apple store, and like $3,000 will buy you a lot at the Apple store. I mean, he felt really good. Like, wow, I could get any of these. And it feels so much better because this is where we're telling our money where to go. We're not wondering where it went. We budgeted for it. Right. We planned for it. We bought 4 new vehicles last year. We budgeted for those. That made it really fun for those negotiations at the car dealership. We grew, we had 3 new positions in our company last year. We budgeted for those. So the budget season is a fun season because you get to like plan ahead and think big picture, but you also kind of get to be the boss. You get to tell your money where you want it to go and then watch as it plays out.
That's a really good statement too. You get to tell your money where you want it to go. Instead of, Tom, how many times have we dealt with somebody that's like, I don't know where my money went, right? If your money is just leaving on its own, this is not a good thing.
It is not a good thing.
It's not a good thing. Yeah. You need to tell it where to go.
It happens a lot. It happens a lot.
Way more than we would like.
Yeah.
Well, not surprisingly, we are like, and an hour just blew by. We're kind of at the top of the hour. Meaghan, is there any last things you'd like for us to share? What's going on in your world? What are you doing that everybody needs to know about?
Well, I do have my next 4 weeks to better bookkeeping class coming up. So I think that would be fun to share. I guess I'm going to drop it in the private chat. It is starting. Let's see.
If you put
it is
in private,
yep, it's in private chat there. Yep. We're starting January 4th. So I feel like this is the time of year where I'm fielding all of these calls. Look, I need to even update the year. So 2022 is your year, not 2021. I'm fielding all of these calls where people are like, I need a new bookkeeper, or I need to figure out my money, or I need to figure out my bookkeeping system. Everybody's like thinking about that. And so January tends to be our best class of the year. We run this class every other month. I run it live. I teach it personally. Liz has taken it. It is 1 hour a week for 4 weeks. And I tell you that I will teach you how to get a handle on your money. And that's the whole point of the class. So I'm excited. January 4th, it's going to start. We meet Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific. I'm now realizing that totally conflicts with this smart business moves. I'm sorry. But Tuesdays.
Okay.
We think it's worth it.
Yeah,
Okay.
do this. This
Yeah.
is good stuff.
And
And you
have
better sign up now, because you just don't know when one day Meaghan will wake up and decide to fire all you guys.
Yeah, I'll be
So-
like, I don't want to teach this
That's
class
it.
anymore. It's not fun for me anymore. No, it gets really fun. I love that it's a cohort. We get like, usually classes are between 8 and 30 students, and you really get to know other people who have fear around money and around bookkeeping and are going through the same pains and struggles. So, and because I love Tom and Liz, I threw in $100 coupon. So $100 off if you use this link. If you just go to the website, you will not get the $100 off. And I think it's a good investment for setting 2022 up for success. Criteria, condition, I make you start from scratch. So if you're signing up for this class, I'm going to assume something's wrong with your books, and I'm going to make you start over, because I can't teach in a group setting if I don't know what's wrong or broken. So I need you to do it my way. I'm a control freak if you haven't figured that out. And so I teach you how to start it all over from scratch, which January is the perfect time to do that. So that's what's coming up for me in the group setting, is that. And
Merry Christmas, everybody, with that $100. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, no kidding. Thank you. That's awesome.
You're welcome. Yeah.
And having gone through the course, I can give a quick testimonial that this is the way you can get over the scariness of money. You see how Meaghan talks here on Smart Business Moves? She's just chatting and she's friendly and she's got all this energy. That's exactly how she is in her course. Exactly how she is. She's like, oh, this is easy. Just do this, and it's going to be so easy to do this. And you know what? She makes it easy. She makes it, she can do it in 4 hours, you guys. She can make you feel like, okay, I can handle this.
I feel very Mary Poppins-ish, because I'm like sneaking it in with a spoonful of sugar, right? I'm sneaking in all these things that you guys hate or are afraid of. We're going to make it easier. Tom, I cannot believe how big your puppy has gotten. I feel like I've not been on the show for a long time, because she was not that big last time.
And she has an internal clock, and she's telling me it's dinner time.
This is us getting the hook, Liz. This is us.
It's time. We're over time.
We are over.
Right,
but Meaghan, as always, this was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas and happy
Merry Christmas.
Meaghan.
Happy holidays.
Yes. We will be back Wednesday, 5 o'clock Eastern. Last one before Christmas, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Right.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.